just to let you know, last year was Easter tax. I think the difference was
Yeah.
last year was it was a one incident. It happened, and then like 3 months,
Yeah.
4 months, we started rebuilding. I
Yeah.
think this is one of those. I think is where places where we could really say that these are transition kind of a situations or transition points, where I
Yeah.
don't know whether the world will ever come back to the way exactly it used to be and as we remember. I think there are certain shifts that will stay.
Yeah.
As human beings, I think our innate nature is to always cut back to what we are used to. I think we are social creatures. I think we wanting to spend time with other people will continue to happen. At least our generation will be like that, for sure.
Sure.
But I think it's a quite a bit of a mental. I think the mental challenge is what I struggle with a lot more than this thing, because
Mhm.
the discipline that you need to be on calls one after the. There are days that I've been on calls like 14 hours. Right?
Oh my God, that's not healthy, man.
Yeah, I know. It's just
Yeah.
back to back, back to back, back to back,
Mm.
and then just to focus with two kids running around, and then wife,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my wife
True.
is a
True. True.
working wife, used to be a working
Sure.
wife.
Sure.
She's also
Sure.
adjusting.
Mm.
But so I think that is where we have to pay attention. I don't think all of us have really thought through all of this because we never had to.
Yeah.
What about you? I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've always been a big fan of yours.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Rohan. Yes, I think just staying on to the to what you mentioned about work from
Yeah,
home and how it sort of blurs the boundary between
yeah,
between home and work. I think that's a reality, and the problem of having these chats through Zoom or Microsoft Team or whatever you have, Skype or whatever,
yeah,
it is a much more intense activity because only two senses are working. When you're meeting physically,
yeah,
a lot of senses are working. You have the sense of smell. You have
yeah,
I can see how you're dressed. I can see your body
yeah,
language. I
yeah,
can make out. I can hold your hand,
yeah,
pat you on the back.
yeah,
So there are many ways of communicating with each other.
yeah,
But the problem of this is that it's just like two things. And the worst
yeah.
part of this is that my own face stares back at me. When I'm meeting in the real world, I can't see myself.
That's
So
right.
I'm quite
Very good
I'm
point.
quite relaxed. I'm quite relaxed. I don't know how I'm looking. I don't care about what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah,
totally involved with you.
yeah,
But
you're
in
right.
this, each time my face pops up, I'm saying,
Yeah,
"Oh my God, what am I looking like? Why am I looking like that?" And the conversation just disrupts. So there's a
you're right.
huge conscious element that is required
Yeah,
to take the conversation back to what it was meant to be,
yeah,
rather than staring at yourself. So it's been a tiring last 5-6 weeks, and then based on that, and then it's the boundaries of work and home was blurring because what I realized, what many of us are realizing is that earlier, like, home used to be a place where,
yeah,
at least for most of them, I know some of you, the boundary was already blurred
yeah,
for people in the digital space,
yeah,
but for us,
yeah,
it was a very clear that this is my office.
yeah,
I'll drive there, I'll go there, I'll
yeah,
walk in, I'll go wearing a tie.
yeah,
When I come back, the first thing I take off the tie,
yeah,
I get into my boxers, I take
yeah,
off my shoes.
yeah,
So there was a very
yeah,
clear sort of a shift of
yeah,
personalities.
yeah,
Now that has got blurred, that has got
yeah,
absolutely confusingly blurred.
yeah,
So, so based on this, and then I was talking to my own colleagues, is that just today we are releasing out a protocol in Fair First of working from home. We're
right,
just putting down some rules,
right,
simple rules, like, for example, no virtual meeting to start before 10 a.m.
right.
No virtual meeting to be scheduled after 4 p.m.
That's great.
Between 1 to 2 is a
That's
lunch hour. Let's respect that.
that's great. I
No,
think you need to do that.
on Fridays and before any long weekend, the last meeting will be at 1 p.m. So basically, people sort of we're trying to encourage to think
Yeah,
back in the way we used to think earlier.
yeah.
Um, so if you want, I'll mail you that what our internal circular is about. So
Oh,
we're
please.
just doing that,
Yeah,
and again, none of us know how to navigate this world, man. None of us. There's no book written so
that's
far.
true. Yeah, I think.
And the only thing we can do is be sensitive, be
Yeah,
empathetic, and be okay that fine, we'll make mistakes. Yeah, so what? Big
yeah.
deal. We'll
I,
make mistakes.
as long as we don't hurt too many people or to ourselves
Yeah,
too much, and then we can make the corrections, I think we are going to be fine. I think that's the same thing. I don't think anyone
yeah.
knows how to deal with it.
No
Everything
one
you said
knows.
is true. I never really thought about it. First of all, I wanted to say such a great thing, Sanjeev, you are doing in terms of putting down this mandate. Because for
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
I mean, there were days that I got up at like 7:38 till
yeah,
9:30 in the evening. I
yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner were on the same table on the computer in front of me.
My God.
Luckily,
Quickly,
unlike
yeah.
unlike these, I don't have to
Yeah.
keep my camera on.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
That's another thing. Another thing, Rohan, we said that it's okay not to on your camera.
yeah,
Say that in our protocol. It's fine if
Yeah.
you don't, if you want your
Yeah.
privacy, if you are feeling that
yeah,
you're not looking pretty or whatever it is, your house
Yeah.
is disheveled, fine, don't switch on the camera. It's not required.
nice,
So these are things that we're adding in our protocol just to make it a bit
Nice.
more,
nice,
uh,
amazing.
just to make it a bit more easy. So
Amazing. So Sanjeev, I basically, wanted to just construct the conversation or inquire and get your ideas behind about 2-3 areas. I mean, one of the
Sure.
areas is obviously this. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, as I said, I've been a big fan. As I said, not just the person you are, because I'm very grateful I met you, but on social media, like you're.
Have fun.
On the Facebook, on your, I'm jealous. I mean, the kind of drinking parties you have, and I saw that picture of you chopping.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. That's not the effort. That's not the. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
And then like chopping carrots and your honesty and sincerity, and here you are, one of the people I admire and respect, and I really nice to see that you are human too. That
Yeah,
finally
absolutely.
wife rules a lot of things in our lives.
Yeah.
And so that's one part of that, and I think we will probably get into a little bit more detail. And I think obviously you are in a very specific industry that has a
Yeah.
very interesting kind of challenges and implications, of course at the back of East attacks, and of course
Yeah.
at the back of this, right? So I would like to ask you primary, maybe we'll start with that, maybe like what do you think, how is this insurance as an industry is evolving, and what is really Fairfirst is trying to do with these kind of situations, and where do you see ourselves in another couple of months time? I mean, what just a general your opinion about it
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
thought
yeah.
leadership.
So there are two parts of what we do as a company. One is as an insurance company, Rohan, our main objective is to really
Yeah,
underwrite risk. So if
Yeah.
you as a businessman, you as an entrepreneur are doing something where you perceive that there could be a financial loss
Yeah.
to you because of a fire or an earthquake or whatever it is,
yeah,
insurance can take care of that anxiety of yours.
yeah,
We can't take the anxiety of a bad business. That is something that you have to bear. That cross you have to bear yourself. But we can definitely take the anxiety of that. Oh God, there's a burglary in my shop and
Yeah.
things like that. That's something. That's what we do,
yeah,
and that's what as an insurance company we will keep doing. What the pandemic has shown really is that that we'd all read about the possibility of a pandemic. We'd
Yeah.
all sort of
yeah,
heard Bill Gates' TED talk 5 years back or whenever it was,
yeah,
but we just ignored it.
yeah,
I think what is the reality now is that, my God, we'll never ignore it. To your point, what you're saying,
yeah,
yes, human beings will bounce back, but I don't think we guys will be in a hurry to go back to a cricket stadium very soon.
no,
I don't think we'll be in a hurry to go back to a flight or go on travel tours. We won't do that. We would still be very, very wary
yeah,
of the exposure we have to. So things have changed.
yeah,
Anyway, going back to the point on the insurance. So clearly, like,
Yeah.
for us, there's a challenge that business community we are seeing, business human beings are getting impacted by this virus in a very significant manner. And that's something that we as insurance companies will have to grapple with. Like, how do we really underwrite that risk? Is it a risk that we can be underwritten? Is the exposure so high because at one level, some of the research says that
yeah,
if a vaccine isn't found over the next 18 months or 24 months, 80% of the population will be infected. Now, how do you ensure an event where 80% people get infected? Then it's it's not an accident then, it becomes a norm.
yeah,
So insurance can't trigger in there. But
Yeah.
the point I'm making is that as insurance companies, we will keep exploring areas
Yeah.
of so that individuals, human beings, business community,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs have insurance for things that can be that are still accidental.
yeah,
So that's something we'll do. The other part that is very, very clear is that the way we do it has changed dramatically now. And that is something that as insurance companies we are facing, that is something that the banks will face, that is something that the retail malls are facing, the way
Yeah.
we engage with consumers, the way we deliver our product, that has just been thrown out of the window.
Right.
That's just been thrown out.
Yeah.
So again, clearly, I think companies that can adapt to this realization that this change and this change of behavior has come to stay, and that change of behavior is basically simple. I don't want to physically shake anyone's hand now.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to an office now,
Yeah.
an office that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to someone's house. I don't want anyone to come to my house who I don't really know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that earlier excitement that we, as some of us as individuals who are slightly more extrovert, felt of saying hi to people in a random place, I think that's going to stop.
Yeah.
I think we'll all be wearing our face masks, and we'll be quite shy of where we go and how we touch.
But do you think it'll be something like 1 year, 2 year, and we'll get past this, or do you think this is one of those habitual things that will built into us that we will carry forward, and that will be like a way of life for us for a while? Because I think a lot of people want to get out there and live a normal life now. I mean, to come to a point where people are getting frustrated. What do you think it'll stay for a while?
So I don't know the answer to it, obviously, but my own sense is that given the intensity of the way the infection is spreading, given the deaths that are still about to come, that will still come. We are not over the deaths. It's still going to come.
Yeah.
Given the trauma, emotional trauma that many of us will go through because our friends, family, ourselves, we might be impacted.
Yeah.
I think the scar will remain for generations, for some of us, for our generation.
That's true.
Maybe it won't remain for our kids, but for us, it won't go away for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years. It's going to take a long time, because while we will definitely get a vaccine for this guy.
Yeah.
We get a vaccine for C19.
Yeah.
But there'll always be a thing that, my God, there might be something else outside.
Yeah, exactly. What more could happen, right? There could be another one just like.
Yeah, so exactly like how we've done in our houses. Like if you look at many of our houses have, if you're living in an apartment, there's a security down, there's a camera there, there's electronic cards and all, because we're worried about a burglary.
Yeah.
So same thing, and that has changed the way we have our houses. That's changed the way we operate.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this virus. It's just going to change our behavior. So going back to so I think it's going to stay. I think the degree, the intensity will obviously become less and less.
Yeah.
But the fact is that human beings, at least generations of mine and maybe your generation, will not be the same.
As a result, yeah.
You will not go running around, jumping into a swimming pool and things like that. It'll take us a long time a lot of drinks to really do that. So
just when my son started doing well in swimming.
Yeah. So I think if once you realize that the consumer psyche has changed, the demand for things has changed, the demand of what communities could do and what business could offer.
Yeah.
If my proposition earlier was that I will send an agent to your house, and that's a rubbish proposition now. You don't want anyone to my house.
No, I don't want anyone. Yeah. I don't even want my best friends to turn up at my house anymore. No.
So if earlier I had this cracking proposition that, hey man, if you have a claim, I will send my guy to your office, to your home, I'll give you a check physically. You don't want that now.
Yeah.
Now you want okay, how do I settle my claim? How do I do my things without anyone touching me? And I think that's a challenge that we as an insurance company, that's a challenge that most, whether you're a Keys, whether you're a retail outlet, whether you are whether you're an entertainment company, that's what people are struggling with. That how do I go back to the same, delivering my product? So my product will not die, my product will remain.
But product will get augmented or modified, right, Sanjeev?
Yes. Probably yes. But the main challenge will be how do I deliver the same experience? So like if I'm a tour company.
Yeah.
Now earlier I was selling tickets and tours to say Italy. Now I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm still a tour company. So what do I do? Do I curate and sell you memories? Do I do something else? Do I sell you the curated operas? So that's the challenge that I think business communities are facing.
Yeah.
And companies which come out of it, I think will thrive. Will really thrive. Which understand that the psyche of the consumer has changed.
Right.
Which don't wait for the cavalry to come. No one is going to come and help us because no one has done this before.
That's true. I think nobody has answers.
No one has done it.
Yeah.
So I think the more agile, again, the whole thing, the more agile a company is, the more willing you are to take a view of the world and stand and saying, this is what I'll do. I think the better chance the companies have.
Sanjeev, forgive me for saying this, but industries like insurance before COVID-19 were, let's face it, to some extent were structured and maybe I
Yeah.
wouldn't call them the most agile companies in the world, right?
Yeah.
I know Fairfax may be an exception, but as the person who heads that large organization, what are the things you are doing to bring some of those elements to your organization? I know there will be a heavy dependency on technology and adoption and utilization of it, but as a structurally, are you all are thinking about how do we make this company a lot more agile? I mean, what are the changes you are making there?
So I think the issue of agility wasn't really triggered by C19. I think the issue of agility was something that I was quite keen that we have that in our culture.
Right.
And that really comes about, Rohan, from a simple thing that is the company willing to take small risk?
Right.
And is the company willing to say, hey, I've taken this risk, I've failed, let's move on. Let's
Right.
move on. Let's not keep dwelling on this,
Yeah.
So I think we've done that. We did that over the last 3 to 5 years, and we really encourage individuals to take small risks. Don't wait for the big bang. Don't wait to change the world.
Yeah.
Small risk, like do something. Fail, no problem. Move on. Let's
Yeah.
move on. Let's quickly move on. So I think that the speed of failure has been very important for me to inject in the company. And it's fine. But you need to fail quickly. You can't be sitting on a project for 6 months, and then after 7 months then say, okay, now let me do a market research, and you do another 9 months, and then you say, oh shit, this didn't work. That's just too long. So
Yeah.
I think the agility comes with that. I think it really comes from the
Yeah.
it comes from the what directions you send. So that is the culture part of it.
Right. Right.
Then what we've done is, like, again, a lot of independence. Again, people, because of that basic cultural freedom to go and fool around,
Yeah.
experiment, fail, quickly move on. I think that has allowed great ideas to come in. And sometimes I don't even know. Most times I don't know ideas that have failed. I get to
Yeah.
know only ideas that have succeeded,
Yeah.
and which is good. So I think that's what we've done. That's what we've been doing, and that's actually helped us in this C19 thing also.
Yeah.
So we're a team of about 800 employees, Rohan. And when this work from home started, again, none of us had a rule book on how to work at home. About 400 of us employees had our laptops and all, but there was a majority of the company didn't have laptops.
Yeah.
Now again, the guys moved so quickly. They were so agile. They took
Yeah.
desktops home. They connected those, and the work just continued. So it's been quite magical that way.
Yeah, I think one of the things I noticed, I saw that also that you have actually posted some of the Facebook stuff about your employees
Yeah.
working for it. So I mean, in terms of looking at the HR as well, I mean, in terms of, I think like even recruitment, management, all of them will be structured. Any insight about how you are thinking about your currently even? Forget I think tomorrow the scenario will be different because every day is a changing scenario today. But
Yeah.
Even today, like, how are you looking at your human resources and the teams and capability? I mean, this manifest that you spoke about was a fascinating proposition. First time, to be very honest with you, Sanjeev, I heard about it, and amazing stuff. So
Yeah.
how is that kind of give us a little bit more about that thought process as well?
So then I think this was in the third week of the lockdown, when I think some of us realized that, oh God, this is a long-term thing now. This won't disappear soon.
Yeah.
And we also realized that was the time when the stories of Brandex and other companies
Yeah.
coming up, John Keats and all were coming out. So there was obviously a lot of anxiety on what will happen to our current employees. So I conducted a town hall via Zoom,
Yeah.
and in which I think about 400 people connected from Fairfax, within Fairfax.
Yeah.
And one of the first things we said is that no one is going to get fired because of this pandemic.
Yeah.
So we said that. We stood up and said that. At the same time, we also said that there is a certain revenue that is linked to the cost we have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
We
how
had done,
businesses are.
yeah, we had done our
Yeah.
work behind, and there was a certain forecast that we have in our head, saying that this is how the business is going to shrink, and this is how our revenues will go down in the future. When I'm saying future, I'm talking about 2020, 2021, and a bit of 22.
Yeah.
We're looking at 22. Only by 2022, things are really coming back to a
Yeah.
more steady state.
Right.
So we've assumed a certain decline in our revenue, and based on that, we need to save some expenses. But we think as of now, we can save those expenses from other areas rather than people. Now, obviously,
Right.
at the same time, we have obviously stopped any new recruitment. We're not
Right.
doing any new recruitment now because if the company isn't expanding, what do you do?
Exactly. Yeah.
So things like that. The interesting thing is, and then we've been very sensitive to things like understanding that this entire pandemic is impacting all of us in very different ways. But one thing is consistent in all of us. All of us are a bit depressed. We are anxious and we are genuinely depressed.
Yes,
We
you're
are
right.
depressed for losing. You might be depressed. You are losing the rugby season.
Yeah.
I'm depressed. I'm losing the IPL. But there's a loss. There's a big loss that all of us are facing. And
Absolutely.
every day when we realize that, my God, this is going to be there for
Yeah, it's hard,
long
and
time.
you're not seeing an end as well, right? I mean, it's just that when
Yeah.
will it? Yeah.
So my wife and I were talking that we should actually have a wake of things that have can we go on a holiday now next? When can we go to Italy next? Things like that. We just can't do those things now in the foreseeable future. So there is a loss which is coming in.
Yeah.
When do you meet your family members?
Yeah.
And so I think that realization, again, I've been very clear that let's not hide that. Let's not just be bravado. Come on, we can do it. We can work. Let's make our company great. This is not the time for that.
Yeah.
It's not the time for that. This is the time to be really saying that, okay, we have a commitment to our customers.
Yeah.
Let's focus and deliver that.
Yeah.
But let's also make sure that you, as human beings, as fellow colleagues,
Yeah.
are not suffering too much. So that's the approach we've taken. In fact, this is a protocol that is getting communicated internally today.
Yeah.
So Manjari, our HR head, is signing it off,
Yeah.
and her sign-off line is be safe. I think give a smile and be sane, something like that. So be sane is a very important part of our
I think
philosophy.
Sanjeev, I'm so grateful. I've spoken to multiple people thus far. You're the first person who said we have to acknowledge the fact that we are a little depressed. I think all of
course
us
we are.
want to put up a brave face. Yeah, let's do this new era. We are gonna do this digital IT rocket. I think the truth of it, I think the way you put it. I think I also could really connect with it, and I'm obviously gonna steal it from you. I think we are a little bit. I mean, I really miss the rugby season. I really miss a lot of things, and I'm sure that my wife misses it, my children misses it, and
course,
in their own
of
way, and we all might be missing it in different ways, and
Yes.
having that impact on each of us. That's
Yes.
sorry, Sanjay. I mean, I think really, really interesting. One of the other things I wanted to ask you is about, overall, we are here for a lockdown. We are here for another while. Businesses probably will evolve. We probably don't have an answer. Then there will be things that we are going to adapt and change and all that type of thing. What are your predictions, and what are the things that we think that you think that as a insurance industry, do you think there should be more unity to come together, and there are something different things that need to come together, or what is the kind of angle that you are looking at in terms of coming out of this, in terms of because we can't continue also, because we know the revenues are shrinking. We obviously, a lot of organizations, including my one, we have a problem where we see there's a fast arriving a bottom that is coming up, because whatever said and done, we are not letting go of people. We may find temporary solutions, like let's cut some salaries down and try to survive for the longest time, but
Absolutely.
somewhere down the line this is going to catch up, and not everybody is going to be able to survive through. Hopefully it won't get there, but I don't know. So what are your assessment of the situation, and what really need to happen from a country wise or industry wise and stuff like that? Any opinions and thoughts process on that?
So Rod, let's just stick to this theme of losing things of the past. Okay, let's just stick to that. Games,
Right.
sports.
Right.
Okay. Now there's obviously a feeling of loss, depression, that my God, the cricket IPL is no more happening.
Yeah. By the way, whom do you support the most? Who's your team?
I'm a Chennai supporter, but I think I'm shifting to Mumbai now so I'm slightly. Because Dhoni is getting old, so I was a major Dhoni supporter, but I think for the last few seasons.
Yeah.
But the point is, so this there's no cricket happening, there's no sports happening.
Yeah.
But it will come back. The game will come back. It will come back in a different way. Maybe it will come back in a closed stadium and it will be only telecast. I don't know. Now, but it will reshape and come back, because the human beings we love spectacular, we love sports.
Yeah.
Right? We love that.
Yeah.
Whether it's an F1 racing which we see on TV and get excited for 4 hours. I don't know why we get excited by that, but some people do get
Some
excited.
people get really.
Or a 4 hour golf game. Again, I don't know what is so exciting about watching a golf game, but again, it's like wow, like really good on. So I think that's going to happen for cricket, rugby, and things like that. So it will come back.
Yeah.
Now the beauty of that coming back is that it will require a redesign of things. The redesign has to be done by some business people. The redesign has to be done by some entrepreneurs.
Right.
And I think that's where the optimism is. So if I look at restaurants are not going to close. Bars will not close. People will still want to go.
Yeah.
But they'll have to be redesigned. They'll have to be reshaped.
Right.
They'll have to have maybe multiple shifts. They'll have to have sitting plans. Like, okay, let's start dinner from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
6 to 6:30 sanitize.
Yeah.
6:30 to... So
maybe like more
activity.
cubicle type of thing where you have your own private space. Waiters will not come.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen, but there'll be some human being, some business community which will make great money by doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is where the opportunities are coming. So I think so. I'm a huge optimist. I genuinely, so this has shaken up the world that we lived in.
Yeah.
Education. I know your kids must be online now.
Yeah.
There's now someone is going to make big bucks converting all that education space into the digital online.
Yeah.
Delivery, like insurance. Like some IT companies, some marketing companies, some little companies going to get a lot of money from us to make the profession right. So I think there's a huge new type of activities that will come up. I don't know what it is, but I know that business will reshape, humanity will reshape, homes will change the way we work. So I think that's what is going to drive the economy back into action.
But do you think there will be fatalities, right? There will be losers in this game.
Of course, it will be. Of course, and like in any big change, there will be losers, but there'll be like some amazing healthcare. My God, it's going to like boom. Anyone in the healthcare space is just going to like freak out. Again, but the way the hospitals are structured, hospitals can't behave like railway stations with their lobby full of people.
Yeah,
they'll have to change. They'll have to become much more like so it just have to become different.
Yeah.
But again, someone will have to spend money to make it different. But the problem is people who don't change will die. So I think the economy is going to bounce back once people start redrawing the new world. Right now we're just talking about the new world, right?
But do you think it has started, or have we started talking about the new world, or are we still keep looking back at what the world is still and the suffering, and we are thinking like, because the challenge always is that when is it too long, or when should we really start? Because one of the things I think a lot of people think is that we shouldn't start on a new journey which invests money and costs money. Because the reason is next month things might go back. Now there are graphs saying 18th of May Sri Lanka's peak is over and we can go back to normal. So I think when is it that point that investments be justifiable, that it's going to be a long-term thing? I think.
So I think that will depend on each individual. But just as a point, there's a very famous research. It's called the Kubler-Ross model of change.
Okay.
You can Google it. Basically, it's saying whenever a change, it happens with death of a family member. It happens when a company is taken over. Like, so for example, I use the same model when we took over Asian Alliance a few years back and changing the work culture. Basically, it says that whenever a change is thrust on someone, now this has come to us. None of us took this change, This was thrown
Nobody
at us,
wanted this one.
No one. So it's been thrust on us. So we had no control of this.
Right.
The first thing is that, what is this shit? It can't happen to us. So if you go back in January, China is under lockdown. It won't come to Sri Lanka, man. It's too hot here. It won't come. Just comes. It came in. Then it becomes like major. Then the next phase, basically, so there are different phases of this change. It comes down to, oh shit, it's come to us. But I think it'll be under control. Like, don't worry, it'll come back. We'll be fine. The graph is dying. Okay. After a few more weeks, oh shit,
we got more number in one day for the entire last weeks and months.
So then it come to people saying that, okay, fine, this is it. This is the vision. This is how humanity has changed, and therefore I will do something. Right. Now each of us goes through this. Each of us goes through the cycle. Right. Each of us. But as the speed at which we go through it really depends on individuals.
It's about how how fast we kind of adapt and say, okay, this is I'm going to make the most out of it. I think
this is where I think the leaders need to be really upfront, which I think the Sri Lankan leaders have been. I think the Sri Lankan leaders have not really shrunk away from saying that we will continue the the control working and things like
Yeah.
that. So I don't think they've said life will go back to normal.
Yeah.
I don't think they're saying that. They've been quite careful in managing the statement quite well. So
Yeah. Sanjeev, the very important question I want to ask you is that you are obviously at least in my mind someone who I admire and as a look up to as a great leader. So I think there's quite a lot of young people who are stuck and obviously they have their own little challenges, etc. And I between you and me, while we work so much, we also kind of get frustrated with the lack of progress we have been making individually, and but a lot of kids can't attend classes, all of that type of thing.
yeah.
What is your the way you look at it, and how, because for me continuous improvement as an individual is a very personal thing, and just like how we adapt to change.
Yeah.
And I want to be continuously, because I know somewhere down the line what I do now will be useful for me to take it
Yeah.
to the next level. What is your
Yeah.
advice for people? What should they invest on? Do something on any specific areas? Where do you think that that we should be really managing ourselves better as individuals?
I think there's a huge need for all of us to become kinder and become more gentle. I think there's a huge need for all of us to become empathetic and saying that, okay, we are in this for the first time. No one knows it. No one is a guru, and it's fine. It's fine to feel bad. It's fine to feel depressed. It's fine to make a mistake. I think that's a starting block. I get a bit nervous when people are saying that, come to this webinar and I'm going to tell you the future. I get quite nervous by these things. So I don't attend, obviously, but I get quite nervous by what sort of a human being, what sort of mind can be there having such so much ego to say that I know the future. None of us know that. None of us can do that.
No,
so I think
absolutely.
that's the first thing that young people have to realize, that hey, it's okay. We are in this. Don't hit yourself too hard. It's fine to slack. It's fine to sleep. It's okay. You're not wasting your time. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. So I think that's the first thing. I think as Asians, I know Sri Lankans, I know Indians, I think we are a bit too hard on young people. I think with the sense of achievement that you must do is a bit.
You must achieve this by this time type of thing.
I think that's unreal, and it just forces people to jump from one thing to the other without really thinking it. So that's the first thing I would say.
Yeah.
Second thing I would really encourage, and I know STEM is a big thing, science, technology, maths, and all those things is a big one. I would really encourage young people to read a bit, listen to some music, just understand, look at the sunset, look at the sunrise, just understand the good things in life that are there. It's not all about understanding the world. There's a beauty in the unknown, and I think the youth has to understand that. Third is, I think now it's important not to wait for the big job. There's a something that has always guided me. It's a theory from economics. It's called the real option theory, and I read it when I was much younger. Basically, it talks about how oil companies, oil companies are dying now, but once upon a time, the magic of a good oil company was how many wells they were digging.
Right.
No, they were not making oil from each well they were digging, but they were creating options. So they were going all over the world, right from Saudi Arabia to Iran to Iraq to everywhere, digging up these holes.
Yeah.
And the idea was that are you as a human being creating options for yourself? So don't. So my advice is, apart, many people have to be specialized. The doctors, thank God, have to be specialized. Pilots have to be specialized. So there's some jobs which require this specialization.
Yeah.
But for most of us, I think it's nice to have options.
Right.
So just to as most of our young people, just to say that, okay, I'm reasonably good in this skill. I'm reasonably good in this skill. So one can be sort of adjust that. So that's a third area. So basically, so there's one part of being gentle, one part of read some good books, listen to poetry. Just get a bit more gentle and just get a bit more sensitive. Right. And third is start creating as many options. Now, how you do it, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's enough online stuff that is happening just now.
Yeah.
Go in for free internship. Talk to companies. Talk to Fair first if you think that if you think you have some great skill in some area, like maybe, I don't know what, maybe in digital.
Yeah.
Just tell me that you want to come and hang around with or talk to my marketing guys.
Yeah.
Don't ask for a job. Just say that, can I just play around? Can I help you around with something?
Yeah.
And no one will say no to a bright kid. No one will say no.
Absolutely.
No one will say no.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the stuff for the kids I can see just now.
Can I ask a personal question, Sanjeev? I know this is going to end up in YouTube, but I don't mind having it. Like one of the little frustrations I have, I don't know whether I'm even thinking about this probably. So that I think you are probably. I never asked this question from anyone, but I'm asking you because I think you can probably give a good answer for me for this. So for me, being in this country for 30 years, it was war. Like first 30 years of my life, war, and it was like survival.
Yeah.
Then we had like a 10-15 years of whatever it is, and we thought, okay, now there's growth. For me,
Yes.
as a business owner, as an individual, I said I'm very big on growth. And for me, at my age, the one asset that I really careful about is my time, because that's
Yes.
what I can't. I mean, money come and goes, whatever, but time you can't. Now you had the last East attacks. Okay, fine, it was done. Now we are looking at another probably 1 year, 2 years of we are in a survival mode. We have to get into a more or less like a kind of a more, not, I wouldn't say survival, that's a too harsh of a word, but a more conservative way of kind of a living, and then maybe look after that. That leads me a bit of frustration. I know that maybe it's because I'm driven by a lot of ambition, but what kind of advice would you give me?
I think
I'm sorry,
I don't think it's a
put you in
survival.
trouble.
It's not. I don't think it's a survival mode. I know we are in a depressed piece. I think we need to
Yeah.
delink. My own personal advice would be delink your mind from what you have to do.
Right.
So in our mind, we are all depressed. I think let's accept that we are all sad.
Sure. Yeah.
We are sad. So
Yeah.
let's just put it on the side.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's a major time to restructure the economy.
Yeah.
There's so much one can do. Like I talk to my underwriters. I've been talking. So like things like we are now working from home.
Yeah.
Right? Suddenly, the risk that we used to mitigate in our office, which was say like a cyber security, for example,
Yeah.
firewall,
Yeah.
is now in a way getting thrown out because people are using different space at their home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how do we provide the insurance for that very quickly? Earlier, we used to provide insurance for that for the guys in companies.
Yeah.
But now the risk has gone to an individual. How do we do that as a business?
Yeah.
So someone has to think that through. So one is the designing the product, again the delivery of it. Like how do I sell it? Like one of the things that we are talking just now in our company is that you are our customer. You've taken a motor insurance from Fairfirst.
Yeah.
You've taken a motor insurance expecting to drive around for like 200 kilometers per day.
Yeah.
Last 40 days, 50 days, you've done maybe 2 kilometers per day.
You just start the engine so the batteries don't die.
Go 5 feet, come back 5 feet like it was. So now what do we do as an insurance company? So we obviously our claims are going to be nice this year because no one is driving, right? Or very few people are driving.
Yeah.
Now, how do I deal with my customer now? Do I tell him that this is the situation and can I give you something in return? So I think someone has to think these things through. I think people like you who are ambitious, I think this is your time to shine. Honestly, there's so much redesign to be done. Forget the past; that is dead. Just put that aside.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But there's so much to be done. Each company is struggling.
Right.
Our call center.
Yeah.
Our call center was fantastic. Like in after 1 week of all this shutdown, where we didn't have a machinery, they maintained a service level about 90 in the mid 90s, and now they're back to 100 service levels while working all remotely.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think other companies should use them because they're just so damn good. They're just so good, and they've set up a nice machinery that works, and it's a nice audit they have. So I think that's how each individual, each company can rethink themselves. What can I do now?
Yeah.
I think that's where my advice would be that I think don't use this as a survival mode. I think there is a bit of liquidity issue. Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Companies are facing a bit of a liquidity issue, but at the same time, so those are fine. But I think there's a lot of future that redesign that is required.
Right.
Which is quite exciting.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciate that because that was a kind of a thing that I've always been a little bit frustrated with, because ultimately it's not about a physical or a materialistic kind of status. It is about whether you have lived a life where you can look back and say you have done the best you can with your capability and skill set.
Absolutely. Like one thing I keep telling my guys is
Yeah.
that as an insurance company, we'll never be the biggest in the world because the Sri Lanka insurance market is not the biggest. But we can definitely be the best in the world.
Yes.
No one is stopping us from that.
That's true.
And that is an ambition that drives us. No one can say that we can't be the best.
Yeah.
We can be the best in the world.
Yeah.
So and that's what drives us here.
Yeah.
So,
and I think people could come and say, wow, this company is doing this, and we should adopt that, and that is the benchmark that you should try to achieve, immaterial whether it's an American company or European.
Absolutely right. Yeah,
that's the industrial area. So the last part of a few other questions I want to ask you, Sanjeev. I know that you have a bit of a stop in a little while.
Yeah.
Just wanted to ask you this question: personal finance management. What any advice you can give to people who are, because these are actual practical situations today. I know we are spending less for sure, but in ways we are also earning less as well. And suddenly, you are keep ordering from Pygmies and all these places. Before you know it, you are suddenly seeing like, it's a little bit more expensive than what it used to be for the same amount, because there's now suddenly a delivery charge that you didn't account for.
Yes.
And how do you really, what are your tips and this thing for the next couple of months for people who are listening and who are thinking about, how do I go through this particular situation?
Great question, and I may not be very competent in this, but let me just try and answer that the way I do it myself. So don't take it as an advice. It comes with a huge caveat that I'm rubbish in my own personal finances. So I think
we all are, trust me.
But I think I have some very bright friends who are in the investment arena, and we talk. And again, it's sort of linked to the themes that we were talking in. Some companies will collapse. So if you're looking about equity, if you are into equity investment, I think some equity investments will not climb back. They just keep crashing, and they'll die.
Yeah.
At the same time, some companies which can actually transform themselves to this new way demand has to be delivered. They will shine. They will really pick up. So I think that's an area one needs to think at. Personally, I'm a firm believer of having limited exposure to risk. Again, that's my age. I think when you're younger, you can take more exposure to higher risky assets. Personally, I moved away from the higher risk and more into fixed income sort of a thing. That's where I put my money. That's where I am. I think. Sure. I think the important thing is to always spend less than what you earn. I think if you can do that consistently, it's magic. Same thing for company.
It's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. So in the company, there's something. There's something that I use called the jaws of value.
Okay.
It's a very simple thing, like saying that. So like a door, a phase.
Yeah.
The best company is where this is the top one is the revenue line. This is your expense line.
Yeah. If
the jaws of profit is like this, you are absolutely happy. If it's like this, you're not hunting. You're just going to keep dying.
Yeah.
So as long as your own personal income is, even if it's 1 rupee more than your personal expenses, you're in a good spot.
Right. So keep your personal finance jaws open as much as possible.
Keep your jaws open. Yes. Keep. If you can't earn so much, stop spending so much. I think that's the only way out.
Last question, Sanjeev. I really thoroughly enjoyed. We've been speaking for about 45 minutes now, and just a last question: what are the industries you think that are likely to kind of take off? I mean, I got this massive PowerPoint decks from research companies about this industry, that industry. I also agree with what you said about redesigning all of it. It's the first principle thinking, right? To be able to redesign businesses, companies, processes. What are the 3-4 industries that, barring hospitality, healthcare we understand, delivery we understand, what are the mainstream industries that you think are going to be in the more of the winner category of this as a result of these changes?
So I think any area, I'm seeing it. I'm more and more. I'm seeing it as a rebuild.
Okay.
So I'm seeing it as how the railway lines were first laid down, how the roads were made first, how the first auto came in, and how the auto came and changed the entire way the countries were structured. So I think any company that is structured, any business that is structured in the rebuild, whether you're a designer, whether you're a provider, whether you are implementer, I think that will do well. Sri Lanka has a unique challenge in the rebuilding in the sense that they will have to focus on what part of the world they want to help rebuild. So government is something, a core skill that Sri Lanka already has. Now, if the demand for PPE is not going to die out for the next 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. We have 7.5 billion people in the world. Everyone needs a PPE going ahead, like, some form of PPE. So that's not going to die out. So I think that's an area that I think, and we have those good guys already here. We have some solid global players. So I think those guys are going to bounce back in the next 6 to 12 months. They'll come back. Again, if they're able to re-engineer themselves again, that's a caveat. But I think they have. They have the strength and the capability of doing that. So I think that's going to bounce back. The entire hospitality trade is going to be an interesting one because how do you deal with that hospitality? Like, for example, one thing will be quite certain, Rohan, at least, may not be wrong word. It may not be certain, but one thing I can visualize, I may be wrong, is that even if I want to travel to Sri Lanka from, say, Europe or India or wherever, I might have to be ready for a quarantine in Sri Lanka before I'm allowed to go to the beaches. So I think travel will be there, but there'll have to be some form of a good quarantine facility to be made. Can the quarantine be in some nice place, which seems like a resort, but at the same time you're also quarantined? So I think there'll be a need so I think hospitality will come back, but over a certain again by redesigning the way they operate. How do you do it? I think things like package tours and all are going to struggle. I think transport, huge redesign has to happen. I can't see the trains and buses running like they are now. You can't have those crowds. So you need many more buses. You need many more trains coming in.
So the infrastructure on those have to be rethought through and rebuilt,
absolutely right? So someone who starts thinking about it and the main thing, Rohan, is that there's no cavalry coming to help us. We have to do it ourselves. We have to step up and do it. That's it. So anyone who's waiting for things to come,
forget it.
It won't happen. It won't happen.
Got it.
So I think anyone who takes that punt and say, okay, I'm going to do it, might fail, but I think that's where the thing is.
Thanks, Sanjeev. Thank you. I spoke to you and I've covered and I've learned so much. I really appreciate it, and you know that I'm a big fan. Lovely hair. I think this is the longest I have seen, by the way, for you. My wife got herself a trimmer, so I'm maintained.
Good for you. Good for you.
No, not good for me. You don't see how it's too far away for you to get the details.
Right.
But I mean, hey, nobody's there to see, right? Except her and the two children. So, thanks, Sanjeev. Really appreciate from your valuable time. I would like to request one thing. 2-3 months down the line, I would like to take up a 45 minutes of your time again.
Sure.
Because from now to another 2-3 months, I think there will be a lot has happened, and we may kind of contradict some of the things we have already discussed today. I'd love to have that conversation with you.
I just hope I have a chance to haircut, because otherwise things might just not be so good. If I come on the screen with long hair, that means like, oh god.
Let's hope.
We'll have the haircut barometer of the economy.
But I'm asking myself, how can anyone cut your hair now? It has to be done by you now. Or your family.
Absolutely.
That's the other thing.
So it's absolutely another loss of. I should love that in India is called chumpy.
For me, the reason, listen, truth be told, Sanjeev, I don't even have hair to cut. The only reason my wife keeps asking, why do you go to everyone? But that guy for 45 minutes gives me this massage. No woman would understand that one.
So that is over and done with now. My God, that is again a loss here.
Sanjeev, absolute pleasure. All the best to you. Thank you for your wisdom, and I will connect with you. Thank you for your time. Take care.
Thank you so much, Rohan. Take care.
All the best. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.